Hello and welcome to Menopause Diaries Unfiltered. I'm Jackie Grant, I'm your host with over a decade experience of working with women peri to post menopause, helping them to lose their 15 to 20 pounds within 4 months without calorie counting, restricted dieting, or spending all the time in the gym with natural solutions. I've delivered menopause workshops to councils, adult learning services, community organisations, and the National Health Service across London, whilst running a community interest company that I deliver and host menopause and women's health cafes in my borough. This is Menopause Diaries, the podcast where we get real about menopause, the weight, the mood, the sleepless nights, the wins, the hard days, the good days, unfiltered, unscripted, and unapologetically honest. Today's guest is Farah Jamanji. Is that how I say it?
Yep.
Farah?
Yeah.
Brilliant, because I don't want to mess anyone's name up. She's a pharmacist, functional medicine, and mindset coach. Welcome, Farah.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's such a privilege.
It's great to have you, Farah. So, Farah, tell me a little bit about you and your menopause journey.
Well, I'm in the thick of it, as many of your listeners are as well. Once I hit my 40s, I realized that things were starting to shift. As soon as I hit my mid 40s, things really started to shift. Being in both the conventional medicine lane as well as the functional medicine lane, I do understand this integrated approach and the root cause approach to being able to support women through this process. However, when you're in it, you are really in it. Some of the sleepless nights, the lack of energy, some of the weight. But again, that doesn't have to be the way that our story then turns out. There are certainly ways to be able to support it with the work that you're doing and I'm doing, and hopefully getting the message out to women that being exhausted, frumpy, fluffy doesn't have to be their biography.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Do you want to tell us about what symptoms that you experienced?
Yeah, and I think for me, the biggest thing was energy was the big one. But again, through my journey of going through burnout, recovering from it, and now being able to teach women that, I really attributed a lot of it to that. And I thought, oh, is this where we're going again?
Mm,
Then the waking up at random times at night and just not being able to fall asleep, mixed with the racing mind and almost anxiety, dread feeling. That was the part that tipped me off like, oh no, this is
mm,
not good. It wasn't the what we traditionally hear, right? The hot flashes, the
yeah.
night sweats. It wasn't any of that. It
Mm,
wasn't the changing in cycles.
mm,
It was the sleep, the energy, and the anxiety. And I think when you're prone to that, just as part of your dynamic and your makeup, you
mm,
will start to see that start to resurface in this perimenopausal transition. Um, but I think that was the most disturbing. And then, of course, in talking to clients and talking to friends, they're all experiencing similar flavors of that. As this sort of transition started to carry on, as much as we see the memes of people are chewing too loudly, you're getting irritated by the noise, that became more of a feature of just this lack of patience. It's almost like I explain it to women as the coating on your electrical wires starts to strip away and you become a little bit more exposed.
mm,
And so being able to really double down on practices that are supportive, that feel nourishing to you, that feel less of a checklist, helps to keep that part in balance. And then, of course, the nutrition, the lifestyle, some key supplements if necessary, and then hormone replacement if it's right for women. Like we don't
mm.
need to start that postmenopausally, like after we've crossed that threshold. There are ways to bring that in with your provider in a way that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny you say about the anxiety because that was my first symptom. I didn't have like my periods were on point. I didn't have any of the hot flashes until post-menopause, which is funny. Do you know what I mean? Everyone talks about it in peri, and actually post I got hot flashes. So it's really funny how you say that. And I'd never ever suffered from anxiety before. So that
Oh, wow.
when you kind of go, what is this?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'd never had that before, and it was like it was crazy. So yeah, and I know what you're saying because sometimes some things that you had previously can come back to you. Like, so any trauma can come back to you as well in terms of that, this at this time. So yeah, it's um it's very important to look after yourself during this
Well,
time, definitely.
I think of this time as, yes, of course, a whole new chapter, and I think we can get on board for that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a level of energetics of, as ambitious women who are working through our 20s and our 30s, we often suppress a lot of our emotions, our traumas, the stories that we should start to sort out. And we just put it to the side. We'll deal with it later. Well, when the 40s come, perimenopause comes, it's handed all back to you. And
Mm,
it's a way to really have a deep dive with the wisdom that you've gained from those 40 years.
mm,
Really look at them with clarity and with some degree of importance around it to say, right, what do I want now in this next chapter? Do I want to keep running the same patterns I have run? The people pleasing, the lack of boundaries, the perfectionism, not dealing with any of my emotions and putting everyone else first? Or is this a time where now I'm going to start to figure out a new path to walk such that that is more nourishing into our 40s, 50s, and beyond? That's more aligned with how I want to choose to live my life, because often our 20s and our 30s were not um, we were not as in charge of the choices that we made, perhaps.
mm. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. I mean, the thing is that I feel like now, you know, there's no filter.
Oh yeah, we
Whereas before there was a bit of a filter, do you know what I mean? And that's what I feel like. I feel like if I think it, I'm gonna say it.
there's a level of permission that we give ourselves now, and we see all the memes about the filter is off, we have no more, to give. But there is a truth in that, and I think there's a beauty in that because
Yeah,
now we can stand in our true authentic power and be able to say the things that perhaps we didn't say,
yeah,
and be able to live our life in the way that we really choose to want to.
exactly that, exactly. Um, and before we came on, you were talking about burnout, and I'm not sure whether I was burnt out when I left my job. I just felt like this is no longer serving me. So, is that some of the work that you do with people?
I do. That's where a lot of women will find me. They're exhausted that, a nap and a vacation isn't fixing. They're starting to realize, like, oh, I'm feeling really burnt out. But then they have a lot of stories around, well, I should just push harder. I should do more. There is this intersection of hormones, burnout, stress resilience. They just don't feel like themselves. And certainly that was my story. I
Mm,
think my whole picture around perimenopause got so clouded with burnout, with a grief journey, layered on to hormones that just weren't there anymore. Um,
mm,
but there is this idea for women of how do we remain relevant, ambitious in the face of perimenopause and menopause, and layering on the extra layers that we're juggling, whether it's family, kids, the multiple hats that we're trying to wear, whilst not getting into this burnout phase. And I
mm,
think the where I come from it slightly differently is I think that there's a biology of burnout, of
mm,
why are we filling our stress bucket from the inside out when we already have so much stress coming from our external environment. If we can start to mitigate some of this internal stress environment from a physical perspective, then
mm,
we have bandwidth and capacity, and it almost increases to be able to have more resilience to take on more of life's stressors.
mm,
Then we have to start to look at, well, what are those patterns that we're continuing to run that what we just talked about may not be serving in this new phase of our life? And
mm,
how do we start to create a life that we are so in love with trying to live and lead? But how do we
mm,
do that powerfully without sacrificing our ambition?
mm. Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, I think that it was actually quite a good thing of me like leaving my job. I mean, it was like a weight was lifted off of me.
Ah,
You know what I mean? And actually, building into a new transition into my life, you know, because I always wanted to be in health. I mean, I was in health anyway, but a different end of health,
Yeah.
drugs and alcohol. Now I'm in health with women, specifically around their weight loss. So, I've always been in health. It's just a different health and also running my own business rather than working for, you know, charity kind of.
And that was my pivot as well. I've been a community pharmacist for now 25 years. And though I, still retain my license and still will work in community pharmacy, it started to become misaligned when most of my work is really root cause driven. It is
Yes.
not, listen, drugs are amazing and sometimes there needed to be a bridge.
Mm,
And oftentimes there is a root cause or an underlying reason why these symptoms are starting to show up. Once we address
mm,
that, we start to bring the body back into balance. Those symptoms start to fall away. So, whether that is weight, whether that's fatigue, lack of energy, even something so benign as skin rashes,
mm.
there is a root or an underlying cause to that. And so, as I started to really dive more into that, and then, of course, the mindset and the coaching, and how do we start to shift behaviors and beliefs, I started to realize the work of community pharmacy, though I love clients and the discussions, the medication piece wasn't as aligned. So there
Yeah.
was that pivot, right? I was in senior level management.
Mm,
I walked away from that to find a more aligned way of living and leading, both from a personal, professional perspective. But same thing, you find what lights you up. And what worked again in our 20s and 30s just may not work again in our 40s and our 50s.
yeah. And it's so true because that's exactly what I did. It wasn't aligned with me anymore. And when you start to find something that you're aligned with and that you enjoy, and you think, well, I could do this for the rest of my life. Do you
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because, like you said, so you had the medical end, in terms of medication, that was the bit that you weren't aligned with. And I wasn't aligned with the fact that I was working towards, in being a senior manager, working towards targets when people can't be targets. Do you see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it makes no sense to me. So you're telling me I have to get this so many people off of drugs. It's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? Because I ain't got
Well,
a magic
you're now
wand.
having your impact and your value that you present to the world and the service that you provide in a way that makes sense for you, that also helps the women and their hormones and their health,
Yeah.
for them to feel confident and alive in their body. And what a gift that that is to give to those women at this point in their life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It is. It's it's so much better, I tell you. Do you know what I mean? So Farah, so what would you tell a younger you about
Mm.
menopause?
Oh, there's lots of things I would tell a younger me. And it's interesting because I do have a daughter and we have these conversations. I think specifically, I would tell her the extra burden and story around stress that you're putting on yourself isn't serving you. And in fact, it's burning you out further. There is a way for success and ambition and joy in your life to come that
Mm,
doesn't have to come from a hustle and drive and this really masculine way of leading. That's the
mm,
first piece. Put down the
mm,
stress, have more fun, right? You'll have loads of time in your life to work really hard, and hard work isn't the problem, it's the pressure that you put. The other piece I would tell my younger me is look after yourself and look after yourself in a nourishment way because so many women again in our demographic and our age we learn to restrict, cut calories, work out harder to get the result we need. And really, if we were to nourish ourselves, give our body truly what it needs to thrive, it will function so much more better. That's not even a word. This is the
mm.
perimenopause, right? There's the brain fog. What's the word? Your body will function in such a better fashion that it's very easy to maintain your weight and have energy and feel strong mentally, physically, and emotionally. So look
Mm,
after yourself. That means eat. That doesn't mean skip meals. That
yeah.
means you get to be important on your priority list. Eat your
Mm,
meals, get some sleep, um, move your body. I never did growing up because I never really had to. Now, You realize that sarcopenia, or lack of muscle, that is a huge indicator for what your longevity and performance is going to look like.
Exactly.
But not to make it feel regimented and dogmatic. Like, lead this into a lifestyle, which is now what I teach women. What is this new playbook in our 40s and beyond? I wish
Mm,
I had a playbook for my 20s and 30s that I listened to that, was nourishing and supporting.
mm.
And I think the final piece is I don't know about you. My mom didn't share a lot of information because they didn't have information back then of what this menopausal journey was going to look like.
Mm,
Excuse me. The big thing is this is not to be scared of. This is such a beautiful new opening for you to step into your authentic power,
mm,
to be unapologetic, be who you are, live into your life, and just enjoy it all. Like, there's such a joy that comes into it, where I
mm.
think in our 30s and 40s, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old, I'm becoming irrelevant, what is happening? But it doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly. Yep. Brilliant. That's brilliant, Farah. So where can people find you, Farah?
So Instagram's probably the easiest, at the underscore holistic pharmacist. Shoot me a message. I love to be in my DMs and chat. And let's just keep these conversations going, because I think finally now the doorway is open from work that you do and other women who are bringing this menopausal conversation to light, that it doesn't have to be this taboo, feared subject, but it's so much more nuanced than hormone treatment and what do I eat. There's so much more in that conversation.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for being the guest today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you all for watching and listening. If you have any questions for me or my guests, ask them in the comments, like or subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.